Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most chilling facts about the iconic villain from 1922's Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Beware of a few spoilers. Number 10. Unflinching Gaze. In the original silent film, Count Orlok, often mistakenly called Nosferatu, blinks only once. For the rest of the film, we're subjected to his unrelenting stare, a look that could only come from an undead monster. Unlike modern romanticized vampires, we're looking at you, Edward Cullen, Orlok's gaze is piercing, predatory, and utterly devoid of humanity. The absence of a basic reflex like blinking underscoring his alien nature. Those cold, lifeless eyes strip away any semblance of empathy or mercy, leaving his victims stunned with horror and helplessness. It's this haunting, unflinching gaze that solidifies Orlok as one of cinema's most unsettling baddies. Number 9. Link to rats. Count Orlok's rodent-like features are hard to ignore. His pointed ears, jagged teeth, and clawed fingers evoke a striking resemblance to the mighty rat. This similarity is no coincidence. The 1922 film deliberately emphasizes this connection, portraying Orlok as not only rat-like in appearance, but also as a master of these vermin. At one point, he even summons an army of rats to spread the Black Death, leading to widespread death and despair. Orlok's association with the pests adds another layer of horror to his character. While he may appear somewhat human at first glance, he's ultimately driven by a primal thirst for blood. Number 8. Sun Allergy. Here's something you might not know. The popular trope of vampires bursting into flames at the first touch of sunlight originated with Nosferatu. Count Orlok meets his end when exposed to daylight, disintegrating in a frighteningly slow and agonizing manner. This marks a significant departure from the film's source material, Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula, in which the titular vampire dislikes sunlight but isn't destroyed by it. Orlok's sun intolerance heightens his eerie vulnerability. Despite his supernatural powers, he's ultimately defeated by a simple and natural force. This film's climax forever established sunlight as one of the most feared elements in vampire mythology. Number 7. Resistance to stakes. If you'll recall, Bram Stoker's Dracula could be defeated with the classic wooden stake to the heart. However, in Nosferatu, Count Orlok proves far more difficult to destroy. At the end of the movie, the virtuous Ellen discovers that the only way to destroy Orlok is to use a pure-hearted woman, i.e. herself, as bait. Just before dawn, she allows Orlok to enter her bedchamber, where he feeds on her blood until the rising sun destroys him. In the process, both Ellen and Orlok meet their demise. Orlok's undoing is creepily specific. Not only is he impervious to conventional weapons, but he can only be vanquished through the ultimate sacrifice of an innocent. Number 6. Lack of humanity. In contemporary vampire media, such as Anne Rice's work, these night dwellers are often depicted with a human side.
But we can live without taking human life. It's possible.
Anything is possible. But just try it for a week. Come into New Orleans. Let me show you some real sport.
These portrayals frequently cast them as morally complex figures, torn between their lust for blood and the existential burden of immortality. But that is not the case with Count Orlok. Unlike many incarnations of Dracula, there's nothing morally gray, conflicted, or even really human about Nosferatu's vampire, who is depicted as animalistic and grotesque in both appearance and motivation. There's no inner turmoil or ethical dilemma here. Orlok is evil embodied, just looking to bite some necks and wreak some havoc. Number 5. Contorted movements. It's hard not to admire Orlok's stealth. He has an uncanny ability to quietly stalk his victims, manipulating the shadows around him to stay hidden within the darkness. You'll also notice his movements are eerily slow, almost creating the illusion that he's gliding across the screen. Whether he's creeping up the stairs or looming over his prey, Orlok's deliberate pace forges a sense of dread, as if time itself slows under his influence. Paired with the choppy, jerky editing style of early cinema, these motions make Orlok seem like a puppet controlled by some dark force. Number 4. Distorted appearance. While the 1922 film is an unofficial adaptation of Dracula, Count Orlok's grotesque appearance is a stark departure from Bram Stoker's original vision of the character. In the novel, Dracula is a suave, aristocratic figure who uses charm and elegance to ensnare his victims. Orlok, however, is the opposite of seductive. His lifeless, sunken eyes, rat-like teeth, and clawed fingers render him unnaturally eerie, stripping away any trace of humanity and emphasizing his animalistic nature. This portrayal distances Orlok from the dreamy vampire archetype that later dominated pop culture, creating a figure who's devoid of allure or romanticism. In other words, there's nothing sparkly about Orlok. Number 3. Connection to disease. Orlok is more than just a vampire. He's a symbol of pestilence and decay. As mentioned earlier, Orlok is strongly associated with rats. This connection paints him as a harbinger of death and despair. In Nosferatu, his first move after arriving in the town of Visborg is to sick plague-infested rats on his new neighbors, leading to a bout of the Black Plague that kills much of the population. The film includes this plot point to amplify the horror, portraying Orlok as an unrelenting force of destruction that leaves a trail of suffering wherever he goes. Interestingly, the filmmakers envisioned Orlok as a creation of the archdemon Belial, who was also linked to illness. Number 2. Grizzly feasts. Count Orlok's feeding scenes in the 1922 film may be called the most unnerving in vampire cinema, which is saying something considering he was the first movie vampire. When Orlok feasts, the attacks are raw and visceral, marked by a sense of inevitable doom as his prey struggles against his looming presence. The camera often lingers on Orlok's elongated fingers or creeping shadow as he closes in, creating a chilling buildup to the grotesque act. Plus, Orlok's victims never join him in the world of the undead. They're simply left drained of life. In this way, Orlok is more of a traditional killer than most modern film vampires. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Ambiguity. The makers of Nosferatu, who initially set out to adapt Dracula, were forced to alter their movie significantly to avoid legal repercussions. Although he is distinct from Dracula, we don't know much about Count Orlok, even after watching an entire movie about him. Was Orlok born cursed, or was the curse bestowed upon him? We know he's linked to Eastern European legends that predate Dracula. It's also said that he's the spawn of Belial, Satan's lieutenant demon, but otherwise, we're left largely in the dark. Yet it's Orlok's mysteriousness that's helped shape the future of vampire cinema, influencing the portrayal of these monsters as complex, enigmatic creatures. Did we miss any factoids about the OG movie vampire? Let us know in the comments.
The creature they seek is the walking undead! Nosferatu, das Vampir! A vampire!
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.